Welcome to Swansea in Wales. It's early summer and well over 1,000 athletes and many more supporters have descended on the city. So it must be time for the triathlon. Here today are some of the country's top elite triathletes ready to take on this sprint distance course. And because it's super flat, it also makes it a great destination for first-timers to take on their first triathlon. This race has become an iconic fixture in the triathlon calendar, thanks to the city's beautiful history and scenery. And brought to you by the same organisers as the world-famous long course weekend, this event sees huge crowd support. From the swim at the Prince of Wales Dock, all the way through to a buzzing finish line at the National Waterfront Museum. Here's your commentator Patrick Winterton with a closer look at what's coming up.
Well, a very warm welcome to the University of Wales, Trinity St David's Swansea Triathlon. The university celebrating its bicentenary. This sprint triathlon not quite as old as that, but growing in popularity, could be around in a couple of 100 years or so. It's fast, it's flat, it's a lot of fun as well. Well, let's have a look at the course. It's a 750-metre swim in the Prince of Wales Dock, over the River Towie, into the transition, then out on the bike ride. 3 laps of 6.6 to make up the 20k. And again, a flat course working its way to the west before a dead turn takes them back to the city centre. And then, of course, the run, 5 kilometres, flat out. The fastest will be around the 18-19 minute mark. And then, of course, into the finish under the Copper Bridge, past the new Swansea Arena, and into that famous finish line with hopefully a decent time. Well, the athletes have been around for a while, but as start approaches, the clock always seems to accelerate. The key is to be totally organised, have a routine that works. There's Jasmine Boyer, certainly one of the favourites in the women's field, excellent on the bike. Beth Jones, maths teacher, gets in 12, 13 hours training a week, but certainly is a contender for a top position here in Swansea.
I've only really started back swimming in the last 2 years, so it's still a work in progress. I'd like to make up a little bit of time on the bike. I've been working quite a lot on the bike recently, and I know on the run I'll be gaining a little bit every step of the way, as that is my strength. So fingers crossed I give it all I've got, and yeah, it goes well on the day.
That could make for an exciting finish. Number 104, James Harries, another man who's pretty new to the sport, self-taught in the pool, but is hoping for great things.
It's quite short and fast, and it's flat, so it should be quite fast, and there won't be much elevation, so yeah.
And are you hoping for a good result today?
I'm hoping to, but not putting any pressure on myself, just trying to enjoy really.
Here's Joshua Jones. He's had a couple of local wins down in the Mumbles, and we'll see how he gets on, focusing on triathlon this year.
Obviously the aim is always to try and get a podium, but that's obviously quite a big ask with the field that you often get at these races. But I think more importantly for me, it's having a good race and going through the processes that I want to sort of do throughout the race. But I think it's going to be a case of going off hard in the swim and seeing where I am then, and putting on a good bike and a good run after that.
And you may recognise this man, 45-year-old Shane Williams, Wales's record try scorer with 58 tries. Now, if his triathlon is anything like the sidestep off that left leg, then he is going to be in the mix come the end of the run.
People tend to come down here and show off their PBs, but it is flat. I think with myself, I just go flat out until I fall off. That's my tactics. Whether that's fast or not, I don't know. I'm not a particularly good swimmer, so I tend to try and catch people up on the bike and then dig in for the run. So yeah, there'll be a lot of support here today. I like Swansea, it's a good run.
So do many others. We'll focus, of course, on the elite and the celebrities, but the biggest smiles, the most fun, the most support, the atmosphere comes from the masses.
I've done this event before. It's a local race. It's brilliant, nice short one, get you ready for the longer ones coming in the year. All the local clubs here, well, everyone you train with, it's just a great event.
It certainly is, and as a result it's attracted a huge number of first-time triathletes, and they've got their own wave start this year.
All three of us are nervous, it's our first event, as I said. So once we're in the water, that'll be a lot better, I will, yeah. Yeah.
Just get the start out of the way and you'll be away.
Start done, get the swim done, that's what it's all about. The rest should be plain sailing.
Just aiming to have fun. I feel more calm now that I'm here and like everything's set up for transition and everything's ready to go.
The athletes from the first of 4 waves in this Swansea Triathlon making their way down to the Prince of Wales dock. There's Jasmine Boyet. You'll be able to pick her out with that black-blue suit. Now, wearing camouflage to stick out, that's a bit of an oxymoron, but we'll see how he gets on. I think he might be setting a trend.
I don't understand why there aren't more wetsuits like this. It's really good. It makes you feel powerful wearing something like this.
So you're feeling confident about the swim then?
Yeah, I'm going to take my time, take it easy, enjoy it.
Well, Cam Man has taken his place at the back of the field. Those wanting a good swim time, eager to get a good position at the start. We are underway. 750 metres, 2 left-hand turns as the fireworks go off. We're looking for a time of around 9 minutes. Anything under 9 minutes is very, very good. Course record, incidentally, set back in 2017. Alex Matchett with a sub-56-minute triathlon. That was absolutely staggering. Anyone under the hour has done well today. Well, we've got a leading group of around 10. Joshua Jones is in the mix, as you would expect.
This type of race in my swims normally puts me in a pretty good position, but I think, yeah, my running's going quite well and my bike's not too far off at the moment as well, so yeah, pretty happy at the moment.
Dominic Davis might be one of the men to challenge Jones, but I haven't seen him as yet in this group. He comes from a swimming background, but his swimming has definitely suffered over the pandemic. He's become the king of the turbo. The bike could be his time.
There's a few good athletes, James Harries, Josh Jones, Josh Wallace if he's feeling for it. We see what happens. We can't promise anything, but give it our best, innit?
Well, here's the leading group as they come into the end of the swim. Just about 700 metres gone, 50 to go before the exit. The gold suit, that is Joshua Jones, who's stolen away from that lead group. He's got himself at least 10 seconds. It may be closer. We'll get a readout later on. So he's out of the water. It's a long run over the River Toey and then into T1 before they get on the bikes. He's a good runner. Good biker. He's the real deal in terms of triathlon. Out comes Lloyd Roswell. We've got Garrett Thomas just behind him. Then a gap of some 20-30 metres back to... Oh, that looks nasty. Jones goes down. Now, what damage has he done there? Seems to have clattered his wrist, but he landed heavy on that right hip. So, fingers crossed, all is well. The first woman is out. That's Amelia Tucker. That's an excellent swim, 4th overall, and Tucker in very, very good shape. She's about 100 metres clear of the next woman, and that looks to be a little bit of a limp from Josh Jones. Now, that's not the best possible start. His towel is ready.
Well practiced here.
Luckily for him, he's onto the bike. I think a run would be difficult at this stage, but there will be 1 or 2 concerned spectators there. Here comes Jasmine Boyet. She's the second woman out. That's a really good swim. She's just over the 11-minute mark, so almost exactly 2 minutes behind Josh Jones, but second place in the women's. As we go back to Amelia Tucker, no relation, incidentally, of Helen Tucker, now Helen Jenkins, the 2-time world champion. But Amelia Tucker, a good swimmer. This is where the race gets hard for her.
And a very quick transition.
Josh Jones,
so the bike shoes already fitted,
very efficient in the transition area, not rushing things, but still a little sign of a limp on that right leg. He went down hard on that right hip, and that is not his normal flying mount onto the bike. So, well, good for him for continuing. In comes Dom Davis. Got a bit of work to do. over a minute down in terms of time on the race leader at the moment. Amelia Tucker over a minute up on the next woman, so big gaps at the front of the field. And remember, this is a non-drafting race, so the advantage you bring out of the water you take onto the road. No groups will be chasing. Tucker is away. A lot of people under the 12-minute mark on the swim. That's very respectable times. Over the sail bridge and then into the transition area. This is Caris Jones. She's come out of the water pretty much with Bethan Jones. Those two could have a good fight, although I think Bethan probably a little bit stronger on the bike. And an excellent runner, Bethan Jones. She's got a 5k PB of around the 18-minute mark. If she can do anything like that, it could be her day.
There's some strong girls on the bike here today. Just going to try and swim as fast as I can to allow myself time on the bike. The run is my stronger, so I'm relying on that to try and make up some time at the end as well.
A good one.
All the way from Germany.
Nice to see some foreign athletes taking part here in Swansea. Just about everyone has brought 3 or 4 people down to support, and that's the key to creating the atmosphere. There's Josh Jones. You can see just a little bit of blood on that right wrist. The shoulder looks a little bit grazed as well, but it's the hip that is the main concern. He's down on the aero bars, just getting into his stride now. It's a flat course, remember, 3 laps of just over 6.6 kilometres. He'll get to see the opposition on a number of occasions. Garrett Thomas, who was 2nd or 3rd out of the water, he's had a good swim, but he's been caught. That looks like Dom Davis coming up behind him, and Harris is there as well. Davis, 7th in the swim. He would have expected better, but this is the time to put all that turbo training into good effect.
The bike's my strong point, so the flat course definitely suits me. It's nice that it's nice and straight as well. Give it everything on the bike and then hold on for the run. That's always how I plan it.
Davis, he'll get some splits and know that he's got over a minute to catch up on Josh Jones. This is Harry's, looking very smooth at the moment, goes past Garrett Thomas without any trouble at all. He's got Dom Davis in his sights. Nice to have an athlete to work with. No drafting, remember, but I suspect we'll see those two share the lead on this bike ride. And there is the lead woman, Amelia Tucker. Now, I suspect the bike fitters would like 20 minutes with her just to sort out the position. Aerodynamically, it is not perfect, and we should get to see Jasmine Boye pretty soon. She was 100 metres behind in the water, 400 on the road. Here she is, and look at that. There's someone who works in a bike shop, down on the time trial bike, and very efficient, good cadence, gaining ground rapidly on the race leader, Amelia Tucker. Now, this weekend is not just about triathlon. There are swim-only events over various distances. There's a 5k run as well, and it's all organised by the same people who do the long course weekend. And it's all about athlete participation and supporters as well. They know exactly how to create a festival, and the numbers prove it.
It's a race that's just grown and grown and grown for us. You know, we got 1,500 athletes, of which I think 138 clubs, 460 odd first time, which is great to see after COVID. We are moving more to that festival party feel, so great swim, road closures as well, amazing finish line. So if you are a first timer, what better place to come and have your first race?
That is why so many have come to Swansea. We're back with the race leader in the women's triathlon, Amelia Tucker, still out on her own, but Jasmine Boye is closing, and closing fast. There you can just see her in the background at the moment, and the contrasting cadence, incredible. Tucker on about 85, Boye coming through on around 105. Nice aerodynamic position. She just goes a little bit wider to break that slipstream, and I can't see Tucker hanging on in there. We have a new leader in the women's race, and it's Jasmine Boye, who wants to gain a good, minute and a half at least over Bethan Jones before the final stage of this race. Joshua Jones leading the men's still. on his second lap, going past some of the tail enders. 3 times round the course, he'll know it pretty well by the end. He's raced here, on 5 occasions already. A couple of victories at the Mumbles for Jones. He would love to win here in Swansea. Everything going to plan. Davis and Harries have been locked together pretty much since the end of the 3rd kilometre on this bike ride. Only 12 seconds apart in the water. And they're coming up towards a dead turn here. Harries looking very, very focused in the back in the red. Dom Davis, is he trying to defend second, or has he still got his mind on winning this one? They have over a minute to catch up on Josh Jones, who's up the road and riding well. Little burst of speed from Harries, and Davis will have no option but to drop back. But even at 12 metres, there is some advantage of being in the slipstream. Only in his first year of triathlon, Harries, he's done remarkably well. As I mentioned earlier, a self-taught swimmer. He has worked wonders. I think he's got a rosy future. Back with Jones, and carefully round the dead turn. So tricky when it's wet. Conditions here today are perfect in Swansea. They couldn't have asked for better. Bethan Jones lying in 3rd place in the women's race. She's managed to shake off Caris Jones, and a little bit tentative going into the corner. Certainly improvement there that might gain a half a second here or there, and that can make all the difference come a tight finish. At the moment there is a big gap, and Jasmine Bowyer is pulling away. Beautiful riding from her. Amelia Tucker was in second, and this is Bethan Jones just coming up behind her in the blue, moving into 2nd place in the women's race. I think Tucker will be happy if she can hang on to a top 5 today. She knows that the swim is her strong leg. She's played that trump card, she played it well, but now it's a question of hanging on in there. Bethan Jones, on the other hand, is a brilliant runner. If she can come into T2 less than a minute and a half behind Bowyer, we could have a very tight finish here in Swansea. Traffic-free roads, which the triathletes appreciate so much. There's the Copper Bridge, signifying the history of the city. And Joshua Jones, that's the 20 kilometres complete on the bike. Timing perfect as he dismounts and into T2. That's a rapid transition. He was quick in T1, quick in T2. Now remember, he took a bit of a crash coming into T1, but he looks to be running okay. That's not good news for Dom Davis or James Harries, who are on the chase. Those two locked together in a really good battle, and Davis very quick out of transition, or it could be the other way around. Harries showing his inexperience. He's only a year into his triathlon career, and now he's got some chasing to do, but he's a strong runner, is Harries. 3 teenagers in the top 3 positions in the men's. Jasmine Bowyer, very, very solid on the bike. Now, has she got anything left in the legs? Always takes a couple of 100 meters to loosen up as you switch to the final discipline. Bethan Jones, by my reckoning, 2.5 minutes behind the race leader. It's only a 5k run, so she's got to gain 30 seconds every kilometre. I can't see that happening, not with an athlete of the quality of Bowyer out front. This is the battle for 2nd and 3rd in the men's race. Davis setting the pace. Harry's looking very comfortable. Now, he lost 12 seconds in T2. He's made that up without any trouble at all, and now looks to be just settling in. And I guess it's a question of when he makes his move. The long stride versus the short, light one. The longer the stride, the greater the height change of the centre of gravity. It's not the most efficient way to run. Certainly helps to cut injuries if you can up the cadence, shorten the stride a little. And here goes Harries, drifting through without any notable sign. There's a pat on the back. Now, is that acceptance of defeat, or is that a double bluff from Davis? Certainly, I think the coach will say, focus on the race, tuck in behind, do what you can to stay with the man who's just overtaken you. Nice running from James Harries. He's got a very, very good future ahead if he can stay injury-free. Now the legs look to be suffering a little, but Josh Jones approaching the finish of this sprint triathlon in Swansea. Certainly a limp on that right-hand side, but the work is just about done. He's still got a lead of well over a minute. A high five with Bethan Jones, who's just setting out on the last stage of her run. Joshua has, a couple of 100 metres to go alongside Swansea Bay, famed for some world-class beaches. He'll then be under the Copper Bridge, past the new Swansea Arena and approaching the finish area. Still running well. In fact, it's a very, very impressive time. And he's taken one or two by surprise. He's been so quick on the run. That's a really impressive performance. He was just over the 30-minute mark on the bike ride. He's not quite going to crack the 18-minute 5K at the finish of this one, and I don't think he's quite going to beat the hour mark, but considering he took a big tumble coming into T1, he has put in a remarkable performance. He's going to win the Swansea Triathlon for 2022. We haven't had it for the last couple of years. Jones is the new champion. He's wanted this a long time.
The race sort of went to plan as best I could. I took a little bit of a slip coming out of the water into transition, which, feeling it a bit now. Started to bite at the end of that run, but I'm happy how I executed it. I could see them chasing behind. I was like, got to keep pushing through the pain. So, yeah, I got there in the end anyway.
A good race is a hard race, and James Harries has certainly had that. He comes in runners-up position.
I didn't expect to come second. Looking at the start list before the race, there was quite a lot of fast guys in the race. I was slow in transition, putting my shoes on, so I had to put the pace down to catch up to the guys. So yeah, it was quite tough.
Slightly disappointing in the water for Dom Davis today. An extra 30 seconds could have made all the difference, but good bike ride, just didn't have it on the run. And he comes home in third place, ahead of Dan Waits, who's an ever-present at the Swansea Triathlon. But it's Joshua Jones, with a time of 1 hour, 29 seconds, who takes the win here in Swansea. And the women's title is going to Jasmine Boyard. That is a fantastic performance. Second out of the water. She had a brilliant bike ride and a solid run to take the victory ahead of Beth Jones, who's fought as hard as she could on the run, but just had too much to do on that final discipline.
Really pleased with the bike. Didn't run as quick as I'd hoped to, but I held on to second, so yeah, chuffed with that.
Will you be back at Swansea next year?
Yeah, definitely. Lovely race, nice and flat, so suits me.
Karis Jones went through T1 with Beth Jones, but couldn't match her on the bike.
How are you feeling right now?
Awful. No, good, thanks. Enjoyed the swim, enjoyed the run, hated the bike. Hated it. I'm not very good on the flats. But yeah, I got there in the end.
Yeah, she would have preferred a bike ride up the Brecon Beacons, but that's not what Swansea is about. Look at that time, 1:11.18, the winning time for Boyard. Jones in second and third. Megan Clements and Aisha Garvey 4 and 5. Amelia Tucker in the end down in 7th. And they keep pouring across the finish line. Shane Williams has just come across the line, actually 28th position. As predicted, he lost a couple of minutes in the water early on, but another good performance from him.
Enjoyed it. It was busy. Road is busy, and the run is always just head down, backside up and go.
Well, there are a lot of happy athletes here in Swansea, and such a nice touch to see the athletes finishing with their kids, showing some appreciation that the family make huge sacrifices just to get the athlete to the line. And of course, the kids getting a Legends medal as well. What could be better?
Really family orientated. I'm going to take my two boys across the line, so that's a nice one for us then.
my first ever one, so just happy to finish, to be honest. It's really good atmosphere and nice sunny morning for it, so make the most of it.
Fantastic. My first one today, and with the support of this great team, I've had an absolutely brilliant time, so buzzing, we're all buzzing.
Absolutely amazing. It's the best sprint try I think I've ever done, and this finish line is absolutely amazing.
Seeing everyone, seeing my coach, Team NFT, so yeah, really happy with how it all went. First time and a great time.
As always, amazing scenes here at the finish line in Swansea, and another great day for this event. We'll see you again next year at the Swansea Triathlon.